So over the beginning of this year, we had a big old staffing mess, and it started because in the fall I actually did not start developing new staff. Truthfully, it's a little bit of a long story that I won't get into, but the business was very, very profitable, and I kind of was like not bragging about it, but saying like to Paul, we have a sweet spot of profitability, and I was way over it, and I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. And he's like, yeah, there's probably something wrong there. I'm like, yeah, I should probably hire staff. But for the exact same reason as everyone else who's brand new, you're bringing in a good amount of money with your academy and you're like, I don't want to give it up. I kind of like everything's okay. It's okay. But I wasn't developing the bench depth or the new staff that I needed in case something inevitably happened, because people always have a life cycle when they work for your business. Even people who really love your academy will eventually not be there anymore, whether as a student or a staff member. So you have to be constantly bringing up new staff, developing new staff, or the existing staff that you have, giving them new skills so that if they had to move into a different position, they're getting there. I didn't do that in the fall. So that led me to an issue in the spring. Just kind of like when you tap in a jujitsu match, it's not because of something that happened right that second. It's because of an error that you made maybe a minute before that, maybe 2 minutes before that. You gave up a position or something like that. And then you got tapped later on. That's kind of the same thing that happened with my academy, with my husband and my academy. I made a mistake. I made an error. I didn't do what I always do, which is every 6 months do staff training new instructor training and then develop my younger, newer staff. I just flat out didn't do it. I made that mistake. And then in the spring, I tapped, I paid for it. And so what I had to do ultimately is I had one person quit. I fired a couple people. I had a huge staffing turnover, and I was looking at all of, so I brought in a bunch of people. I ended up going to work at the academy for a few weeks in June. And I was constantly looking through these um, numbers. Again, what I hesitated to do in the fall, which is again, not wanting to share my revenue. I realized when everything kind of fell apart a little bit, in the spring, I was like, oh shit, this isn't good. I need to hire a bunch of staff right now. And mind you, I was in a significantly better financial situation with the academy in the fall than I was in the spring. But I understood that if I wanted to get out of the situation, it would have been nice to do this in the fall when I had the extra money to do it. But I had allowed things to kind of go the wrong direction for a hot second. And the only thing I could do was spend money, invest in a team, invest in more staff to get out of it. So when money was lower, that's when I actually put the money, said, okay, I'm going to hire two really good people, and I'm going to spend a lot of money on this staffing situation. And I'm going to do instructor training, and I'm going to bring in 4 new coaches, and I'm going to do this. And everything is turned around. So I had to invest money in the business. I had to spend the money that the business was making, and not for myself. I had to give it to staff members. And what happened was, in a very short amount of time, about 6 weeks, we were able to completely turn things around because I had taken that money, not given it to myself, even though, did we work hard? Yes. Was I physically working in the building? Yes, I was. Should I make a paycheck? Yes, I should. But I know that if I want to level up, I need to take that money instead and invest it in staffing. Now, there's a balance between the two things that I just said. I'm a pretty extreme person. So when I do something like that, that's kind of how I go about it. But for a lot of people, they're going to say, well, I still need to take this. That's fine. Go ahead and take that for yourself. That's fair. But what I'm telling you is, don't take 100% of it for yourself. Take a little bit, take some for yourself, and then take some, invest it into the business, and invest it specifically into hiring a staff member. Because again, you will not level up to the type of systems-based functional business that you're trying to get without having a team member with you, even if it's a significant other. You can grow a gym with just your wife or your husband. That's how we did it for a number of years. But I really think you're going to struggle if you try to do it alone. You got to have somebody.